President Trump will get another chance to appoint a high justice to the Supreme Court. Hello, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. After rumors swirled around his retirement plans, Justice Anthony Kennedy announced his final decision this afternoon. After decades on the bench, Kennedy's last day will be July 31st. Now the question is, who will replace him and when?
And we will begin our search for a new justice of the United States Supreme Court that will begin immediately, and hopefully we're going to pick somebody who will be as outstanding.
President Trump already appointed Neil Gorsuch to the land's highest court, swinging the bench farther to the right. Another conservative pick would be a huge win for Republicans ahead of the midterms. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says there is no reason why they can't have somebody confirmed by the fall.
And the short list of candidates is already available. You can see it right now on the News Center Maine website or mobile app. President Trump says he will choose from the 25 names he released during his campaign.
Now, a new justice could affect everything from health care to abortion rights, and a lot of you are talking about this topic right now on our Facebook page. Nate says it is too bad Kennedy's retiring. He says Justice Kennedy was strong and looked at each case individually without political leanings. He was often seen as a swing vote. Linda voted for President Trump because of new appointments to the Supreme Court. She says SCOTUS is more important than the White House or Congress. But Barbara says this is the reason we need more Democrats in Congress this fall. And it's not just you guys talking about this. It has the Trump family buzzing as well. Donald Trump Jr. tweeted, "OMG, just when you thought this week couldn't get more lit, I give you Anthony Kennedy's retirement."
All right, well, there you go. And you know what's lit? The Weather Center right now. A few minutes ago, surprise, surprise, it wasn't lit. That's just behind the scenes.
No, I know. Well, my eyes very sensitive. You know, you got to keep it dark in there. Nice day today. Tomorrow, though, the worst day of the week. A lot of rain, but we do need it, so that's the good news. We'll see some heavy stuff out there. All right, let's have a look at the temperatures today. Sneaky warm in spots. We got to 82 officially in Portland, 81 in Lewiston, 83 in Caribou. Didn't feel like a hot day in most spots, but there was high humidity or high dew point more specifically, and the temperatures did respond pretty nicely. There's the cloud cover over the southern half or third of the state. The northern half of the state has been sunny through almost the entire day. Now just seeing the high thin clouds thickening up over western and southern Maine, and the showers not far behind. I will tell you that these showers have been running into a little bit of a wall here as they move into New Hampshire, so we're waiting till later tonight to see the showers start to move in. Whole slug of moisture back here with some thunderstorms in there. That moves in later tonight and in through tomorrow. So rain starts in some places around 10 o'clock, but most of us it waits till after midnight to move in. Some heavy downpours through tomorrow morning and some thunderstorms embedded in there. After that, guys, the forecast focus, that's what I'm trying to say, is going to be on the heat. Could be in the mid-90s by the weekend. We'll talk about it in just a few minutes.
We have the hotline problem. We have the problem where the child abuse hotline is apparently understaffed.
That's Attorney General Janet Mills referencing the report from the state's watchdog agency that came out after two girls died allegedly at the hands of their caretakers. Two cases where the Department of Health and Human Services was involved.
And Chris Costa, is the hotline understaffed?
Well, Lee and Lindsay, we called the Department of Health and Human Services and emailed, but they didn't return either of our calls or emails. But DHHS says that hotline is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Still, people report waiting sometimes an hour or more to file a claim that a child is being abused.
Tell him right now, Spice, tell him right now.
On the football field or in the classroom, Aaron Filio has a responsibility that has nothing to do with textbooks or playbooks.
As a teacher, I'm sort of putting my faith and confidence in the system.
As a teacher and coach, Filio is a mandated reporter, legally bound to report child abuse whenever he sees the signs. He interacts with dozens of kids every day.
You do this long enough and you kind of realize something is off. You don't want to jump to conclusions per se, but you do know that there's something going on that's different.
According to Maine's DHHS, since 2015, reports from school personnel, teachers, coaches, guidance counselors, and more make up about 20% of the total reports of child abuse. But how are those reports handled?
You'll be put on hold for as much as an hour at a time. You'll be told, well, go online and make a report online. Being put on hold for an hour at a time is unacceptable.
Attorney General Janet Mills is referencing the OPEGA report that noted the timeliness of answering calls to the child abuse hotline was a concern. So how is the intake department staffed? According to a chart released 5 days ago, there are 25 intake social workers, with an opening for one more. There are also 3 supervisors and 1 manager. 29 active employees for a hotline staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for all of Maine's 16 counties. We called around noon on Wednesday and got connected to a human being in just over 60 seconds.
Child protective intake.
Jungle on 3.
For teachers like Filio, that timeliness is critical to his students, potentially someone's son who needs help.
Once I pass that on, you're kind of left blind to the process, and again, it's kind of blind hope and faith that it's taken care of.
There are a ton of professions that are mandated reporters, including some that might surprise you, like a fire inspector. We're going to put a list of all of those professions on our website so you can see if you should be looking out for child abuse at your job. Now, we're continuing this discussion with experts like Janet Mills and former DHHS Commissioner Mary Mayhew tomorrow night at 7 p.m. during our Protecting Maine's Children panel.
All right, Coco, thank you very much. A Pittsburgh police officer might be going to jail. Michael Rosfeld shot and killed Antoine Rose when the unarmed black teen ran during a traffic stop. The officer was charged with criminal homicide today. He is out on bail.
The patriarch of the Jackson family and music dynasty has passed away. Joe started the Jackson 5 in the 60s, which catapulted his son Michael Jackson to stardom. Joe was estranged from most of the family in his final years. He was 89 years old.
Would you bring your baby to work? Not for a visit, all day long.
I think you would if you could.
Right? Come on. One business is encouraging new parents to bring in the infants. Also ahead.
You're easily caught.
Pawn shop protocol, how the businesses flag thieves trying to trade stolen items for cash. Oh, catapulted.
Catapulted.
Clearly very difficult for me to say.
Say it again now.
What's up?
It is on my pocket, yes. But the little antenna thingy is out. Do you want me to move it though?
All right, friends, how is everybody today?
Okay, I do that every night, but I leave the antenna part out. But
while Lee is adjusting his microphone, we're going to touch base and see what's going on.
No, Seth was talking to me.
Fred, we're doing well. How are you tonight? Donna's watching from Mars Hill. Stephanie says she's here to see Joan, John, and Baby V. I have a feeling that has to do with your story.
I saw a couple
Anna
of
says
those.
here for John and Joan as
John
well.
And Joan have a lot of love.
Angela's watching from Gardner.
Okay.
And Beth is watching from Springvale.
Lots of love.
All right, we're walking to the newsroom.
For Team Baldwin.
Am I on this side?
I don't get to use that. Well, my part's covered, so.
So you're good.
I'm good. I've got the next one. I've got the one over there, though, that's not covered. My desk one. So.
Should we be worried about Ted?
In general or specifically? Oh. No, he's good.
Okay.
No.
Asking for a friend. Literally. All right, all right. Oh, look at YouTube. What's up? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, YouTubers.
I know.
YouTube is a prominent feature of the story with Joan and John. It played a huge role
in the contest,
in their life and their families.
Yeah.
So YouTube will be prominently mentioned in a story coming up in just a few minutes.
Very interesting.
Just so you know. Is Rachel awake?
Joe says, who doesn't love a little Teddy V in the afternoon?
That's debatable.
Melody's watching from Quebec, Canada for Joan, John, and Vera's segment.
Tanya is watching from Austria for Joan and
How
John.
crazy is that? We have worldwide viewership today.
I mean, this story, as you will see, has literally touched tens of thousands of people. So that's why we're doing it. Our little Mainers. 2 weapons stolen from a state trooper's cruiser. One a .38 revolver, the other an AR-15 rifle. State police say the cruiser was parked outside the trooper's home on Alpine Street in the town of Norway. It happened on June 16th in the morning, and now police are asking the public for some help.
So what happens now? Maybe the thieves will try to sell the weapons for cash at a pawn shop? We talked to one pawn shop owner today who says that's actually the worst place for them to go.
You have to combat retail theft, and you also have to combat people coming in selling stolen goods.
The second you walk into a pawn shop, you better smile because you're on camera. Lots of cameras.
I got video of you in the store. I have your ID. I have your autograph. You can't get out of that.
Joe Stinson and his wife Julie have over 3 decades of combined experience in the pawn shop business.
I've actually bought stuff that looked legit, and it wasn't. And the police come, they grab the item, they take it, and then I'm on the docket as the victim. That restitution trickles in slowly, but I do get it.
What's the most you've ever been out?
Oh, geez, a couple $1,000s. Yeah, and that hurts.
To prevent that from happening and to help police crack theft cases, every pawn shop in Maine is regulated by the state. With that, every item that's brought into the store, whether it's a weapon or not, must go through a screening process to see if it's stolen.
Customer come in with this, they wanted to sell it. They have to give me their license. I entered in my system, and once it's done, we come up with a contract.
The system is a database that covers all of New England. If the item was stolen, it's flagged and police contact the pawn shop.
This is just click, 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 it prints off, and here you go, there it is. This is the guy that come in, this is the guy that sold it to me.
And remember all those security cameras? They capture just about every angle of any person that walks into the store.
It helps the police so much because how do you deny that?
Now, Stinson's database has every transaction from the last 5 years, but he has everything printed and saved from years prior.
Coming up on Now, a YouTube contest gave them one more chance.
I just thought if we kept trying and kept trying, then it had to happen.
The Baldwins never gave up hope that they could have a baby of their own.
The rain is moving back in. When will the lightning strike and thunder boom? Keith is tracking storms next in his full forecast.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right, come on, Emma. Other than the fact that we've never told anybody, and we've all.
No, Keith, didn't
we promoted it?
Didn't
yes,
Todd's daughter draw that?
No, Todd's daughter drew the Reese's.
Oh. Wow, so we have some international viewers today. That's pretty cool. Thank you guys for being here, and that story is just ahead. Rachel says, oh no, I hate thunder. Joanna's watching from Utah. I do. Keep. Steve, you are correct. The weapons, there were 2 weapons that were stolen. One was an AR-15 rifle and the other was a .38 revolver. Christopher West is watching from Orlando and he misses Maine. Kathleen wants to know if something's going on in Westbrook. Kathleen, we have not reported on anything going on in Westbrook, but thank you for bringing that to our attention. Lisa is here also for Joan, John, and Vera watching from Ohio. Lee, the comments keep coming in for your story. Of course, Steve. Sometimes we talk so fast, and I had a hard time saying catapulted today, so there you go.
On today. According to the latest numbers from the CDC, about 10% of women in the United States have some type of issue either getting pregnant or staying pregnant. That's 6.1 million women in our country. It can be one of the hardest things that any couple can go through, but sometimes there's a happy ending. John and Joan Baldwin's love story started a long time ago, a really long time ago. They've known each other since kindergarten. After reconnecting later in life, they married in 2014, and shortly after, Joan became pregnant with a girl who they named Maeve. As the delivery date approached, Maeve's heart stopped beating. The next day, Joan gave birth to her stillborn daughter.
We got pregnant with Maeve on the first try, and
very easily.
To have her die at full term and to lose her like that was devastating. When you lose a baby, not a lot of couples survive that.
The Baldwins decided to open up about their loss and share it, not just with friends and family, but with the world. Joan would write and write about her pain on Instagram and quickly realized she wasn't alone.
The more I shared, the more healing it became.
In the wake of Maeve dying, in the wake of our full-term stillbirth, Joan was very alone. She felt very alone. It was making me really sad. So for her to find people that had stories similar, if not exactly like ours, that helped in her healing process.
Joan and John decided to try again, but this time getting pregnant wasn't as easy. Infertility treatments were not working. A friend mentioned there was a contest on YouTube where one couple would win the money to pay for in vitro fertilization, a roughly $15,000 procedure that's cost prohibitive for most. The Baldwins entered and won.
I just thought if we kept trying and kept trying it, then it had to happen.
Only 5 eggs were able to be harvested, and only 2 of those turned into embryos. Joan got pregnant with the first one, but then miscarried. The final embryo stayed frozen for 6 months while they decided what to do. Then it was time for the final try. Meet Vera Mae Baldwin, born on Father's Day.
She's so healthy, she's so healthy, and she's such a happy baby. I love her so much. I really didn't think that we'd get here, ever.
The long and at times broken road has ended in the Baldwins being able to finally share, both privately and with their tens of thousands of online supporters, a happy ending.
We've had people who have been there for us since the beginning, through the really hard times, and now we can celebrate with them.
The Baldwins plan to continue their regular social media posts for now, but with baby Vera now the sole focus of their attention, those posts might be fewer and farther between. And I got to tell you, when that baby was born on Father's Day, I was like, come on. I mean, that was
fell
just,
apart.
Yeah, not a dry eye in my house when that happened. So.
Looking at the silver lining, though, how amazing their story is helping so many others out there. We have people watching from across the world right now on our Facebook and YouTube live streams that I'm assuming found out about this couple through YouTube.
The Baldwin baby
and
has
now they're
touched
on
a
board.
million, yeah.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
And thank you to them for sharing that. It's such a personal story and such a hard journey, especially with what happened to them. And I'm glad that they're willing to share that with us and hopefully inspire some others to keep on going.
Hey, new dad, Keith Carson's here too.
Yeah.
And Keith, you were able to tell some of that footage of the new baby that maybe
gas pains. Well, you know, Lee knows they all have their different faces, and when Luca gets that kind of face, there's usually something going on in the gut region. They only have a couple of faces, and although he's got more of them now, you know.
Is the gut region something in Maine?
Yeah, I think it's a science term for the for their little tiny stomachs.
Is it 80 degrees in the gut region?
Yeah, I can't handle. The gut region is where Guttner lives, I think. Actually, that's where that is. 82 in Portland officially today, 81 in Augusta. You know, it didn't really feel all that warm, but there was relatively high humidity during the afternoon. The dew points were high, so it felt a little bit more sticky later in the day. Clouds thickening up over southern Maine, just now getting into northern Maine, where it's been sunny through much of the day. 2 different days. Southern Maine has been cloudier, of course, as the rain now approaches. These showers have been eaten up as they head into New Hampshire, so we got a couple more hours before these roll in, and then a whole slug of moisture behind it will move in late tonight into the day tomorrow, and it'll be relatively rainy here for the next 24 to 36 hours with some heavy downpours embedded in that. Hour by hour forecast showing you most of the rain holds off until midnight, but you notice western Maine gets in a little bit earlier than that. Heavy downpours through the evening in many locations, and by tomorrow morning it's just moving into Aroostook County. Some thunderstorms may pop up. I'm not sure how much instability there is. There is enough dynamics that we could see some stronger storms if we can drive them up into the atmosphere. So we'll watch that tomorrow afternoon through early tomorrow night, and then we start clearing out late Thursday night, and by Friday we're in good shape. And after that, it looks nice for a couple days. Now, we will see enough rain that we actually have a flash flood watch for the mountains of New Hampshire and Maine because of those heavy downpours, and then kind of draining down into some of the valleys. So we'll watch that with over an inch of rain possible. Signal still warm for the weekend into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and much of next week. It will be a classic summer week. I know a lot of people have day off. So we, Jess and I, kind of worked on this map a lot, more than we normally do for temperatures, because it's going to be hot on Sunday, and I'm going over some guidance in a place like Freiburg where I have 100, 96 in Lewiston, 95 in Augusta, and along the coastline probably upper 80s. The sea breeze will kick in eventually, but it stays hot for Monday, Tuesday. We might get a little break on Wednesday, but as I mentioned, this is going to be full summer coming in, and there are several locations away from the coastline that have a chance not only of an official heat wave, which is 3 days of 90 or above, but it may be a 4 or 5 day stretch that they're 90 and above inland. So the main theme is hot. By the way, also humid. Dew points will be around 70 on Sunday. So
what
the heat
if my
index.
hair gets curly?
I know, it's bottom line.
Then you look like me.
Summer. Summer in the face around 4th of July. That's what we got going on here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So would you bring the infant to work? I mean, I don't know how I feel about
like an
this
hour.
one.
I would love it if you both brought your child to work. Yeah.
Yeah, but for the whole day, and then would you care if your coworker brought an infant to work the whole day?
Good questions. Okay, well, a company down south is now encouraging new parents to do just that, to bring their babies to the office, and we want to know from you right now. So comment on our Facebook or YouTube live streams if you're on board with that idea. Sarah French has more.
I would compare it to basically sitting next to a baby on a plane. If you're sitting there, if you're trying to do work, if you're trying to do anything, and the child is screaming for whatever reason, then yeah, I could see that as a problem.
Men and women alike think the South Carolina Department of Insurance goes a little too far.
Fine, bring your child to work, but it's going to be a distraction, and you're not going to be focused on your job if you've got a child there.
I have seen it in the benefits.
Department Director Ray Farmer told us by Skype they've taken precautions to limit distractions from the new Babies at Work policy that allows a parent to bring their infant to work for the first 6 months of a child's life.
But just in case the child is a little fussy or needs attention, we have what we're calling a quiet room that we've set aside.
A place mom can calm a crying baby or breastfeed. The policy is especially helpful when you consider that most daycares won't take babies younger than 6 months old.
The U.S. is the only developed country in the world that doesn't have guaranteed paid leave for new parents. Only 14% of workers benefit.
Anjani Webb is one of the lucky ones. She just returned to Bank of America from 16 weeks maternity leave, all of it paid.
The bank does not differentiate between mothers and fathers, primary or secondary caregivers, as well as whether you've birthed a baby or adopted a baby. So my husband could have taken 16 weeks off.
In fact, the bank has several innovative options for families.
With these programs, such as our parental leave and our backup care, and then even our very comprehensive health benefits as well, that shows me that they see the value of me outside of just being an employee.
It's made all the difference for this working mom of 2.
I've got an extremely supportive manager who understands that there's additional responsibilities now that I have to juggle, and then really supportive teammates as well.
And that was Sarah French reporting. So a couple of you weighing in now on Facebook, and Abby says, I'd love it. And Rachel says, well, it depends on the workplace where you're bringing your child.
I guess it would depend on what you do for work, because if you're going to be distracted, which you can't not be if you've got your infant with you, then, what are you doing? And, if you're an air traffic controller, probably not. I probably want you paying attention to the planes that are in the air. I'm just throwing it out there.
Fair point.
It does depend. All right, coming up the next half hour, you think traffic on 295 is bad now? You have no idea. It's going to get worse. And apparently we don't know how to fix it. Details from a new traffic report that will affect anybody that drives north.
And forget waitressing or babysitting. Teens in Maine are using their summers to learn real trade skills. That story's ahead on News Center Maine at 5:30. News Center Now continues after this. All right, everybody. Well, now that we've made some new friends, from Ohio to across the pond, I hope you stay with us and still check in and join us every once in a while.
Maybe if we have Joan and John on every day, we'll have the international audience on a daily basis.
And Vera.
Dennis says it would make more sense to give them paid leave or let them work at home for 6 months than bringing the baby in.
Abby also adds, I work in childcare, so I do bring my kids.
And
that makes sense.
And I think that if you're in an environment where you can do that, and then bringing your child with you, that makes a little more sense.
Right. There's also ways to adapt your lifestyle. I feel like to children. Like my mom gave up her career in information technology to become a substitute teacher so that she could be on my brother and I's schedule, so that she could be home when we were home and off when we were off, and yet she was still working. And I admire when parents make it work like that.
Absolutely. I like Dennis's point, though, is, if you had the option of just getting paid to stay home for 6 months and do your work from home, I think most people would choose that. You'd only be bringing your baby to work because you don't want to leave it and you can't afford to not get paid, so you need to somehow find a way to make them both work. So.
Other countries do offer very long paid maternity and paternity leaves.
I think I get how companies would have a hard time affording 6 months, but I do think it shouldn't matter if it's the mother or the father. I think that's weird.
Yeah.
That I took 2 weeks off and my wife was gone for 3 months. That seems weird to me. I think it should be... Especially
because you guys share a lot of the parenting duties.
Yeah, I think in this day and age, the idea that it's the mom gets a lot of time, but the dad only gets a couple weeks doesn't make any sense.
No.
If anything,
the fact that dads get 2 weeks is revolutionary.
Well, but
because it used to be 0.
It's way too long.
So I'm happy that dads now get, at least for our company,
don't you think
dads
parenting
get 2
has
weeks.
changed though?
100%.
Yeah. Dads used to also wait in the waiting room smoking a cigar. For the
but
kid to come out,
I'm not going to pretend though that the moms don't have it much harder. Physically, they need a lot more time to recover than the dads do. We just don't sleep.
I think it's an interesting policy. I've seen a few companies that say you get an aggregate of 4 months, divide it however you want. I think that's interesting because then you get
between
to decide,
the two parents?
Yeah, you get to decide who's the primary, who's going to be
caregiver.
the primary caregiver.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's not about what gender you are, it's just that.
Yeah.
All right, I'd love to get questions for Brain Drops. Long story short, this guy from Orland, nice guy, sent me a longer email than this, but he basically was asking, why is it always windy here? He said, my mom used to notice it, and I thought she was crazy, and then I've been here a while, and I noticed the same thing. So
in Orland specifically?
Yeah. Okay. And so let's start with where it is in case you're unaware, because, look, I point at a map every day. Not everyone does this. So just give you an idea of where it's located. If you go up Route 1 there, you will pass by just in the north of Belfast. Now, obviously, you've got the ocean influence, so that's the first thought, right? Why it would be so windy. But let's kind of look at some of the data behind this. Now, this is a relatively older map, but it's called the wind power map. A lot of contours. What I want you to notice is that the mountains of Maine have high and wind potential energy. There's a little bit of a break here, and then notice the coastline has another high contour, right? That's that onshore flow. Let's get a more specific map. And these are all designed for people who are thinking about wind turbines, but notice around that area there's a high contour. You've got a lot of sea breeze, and also during the winter, any snowstorm that's offshore, you're getting that constant piling northeast breeze. So in short, no, you're not crazy. This part of Maine's coast is windier on average than other parts of the coast, and almost as windy as some of the ridge lines here in the mountains of Maine. So
is it a warm breeze, cold breeze, or does it depend?
Well, it depends. During the winter, it's a good thing, right? Because the water is relatively warmer.
Right.
On Sunday, when it's 100 degrees in Freiburg,
that breeze will not feel good.
They'll be 78.
Yeah. That's not going to be a good breeze.
No, depending on your
asked,
persuasion.
we have the answers.
Yeah.
Very good. I know.
When's your center at 5:30 start?
It starts right now. Yeah.
Where are you?
Thanks, Liam.
Hey, where'd you go? Hey, ho, hey. Hi, kids.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you mañana.
See ya.
Okay, I'm going to ask the potentially insensitive question now.